Hi there, welcome back to This Week in Lacrosse, presentation of Lacrosse Inside the Game. My name is Gary Mark, along with Ron Messer. And Ron, what do we got on tap for today?
Well, this week, Gary, we're going to talk about the state of the economy and the game of lacrosse, both the pro side and the amateur side, and
we're going to bring out another announcement. This is almost like, what is it, 2 or 3 weeks in a row we've had announcements here at Lacrosse Inside the Game.
we should be wearing shades of,
More to come. I mean, we've got one tonight and hopefully another one even next week that we'll talk about a little bit later. But the first thing I want to do is announce tonight, we've been working on this for a little bit and just confirmed in the last couple of days, in the next coming weeks for the rest of this remaining season, the National Lacrosse League, we are going to be giving away a set of seats each week to a Toronto Rock home game. And those come compliments of the Toronto Rock themselves and Lewis Ratcliffe.
Sweet Lou himself. Yep.
Lewis has been really, really great to us. We've been working on a number of different initiatives with him, and he gave me the okay just in the last day or two. We're going to have a spot on the site. We're going to call it Ratcliffe's Room. And the only problem is, of course, we got to figure out a way of how we're going to do this. I don't know if it's going to be some sort of contest or random draw, whatever. But starting with this weekend's game versus Edmonton, we are going to be giving away 2 seats. And not only that, whoever it is that gets those 2 seats, they're going to be allowed to come down into the room with Lewis after the game.
That is correct.
So that's going to, I'm sure, make some fan out there very, very excited. More than likely going to be a kid, because that's kind of what we're all about here. But as I said, we haven't determined how we're going to do it yet, but that will be coming up very, very shortly, and it will be happening with this weekend's game. So that's another great announcement. And again, more to come. We'll talk a little bit later in the show about some of the other things we're working on. But I want to now switch gears a little bit and ask you, what have you been drinking, eating, smoking, whatever? Because you pulled off a 4-1, and if it wasn't for picking with your heart, you would have had a 5-0 week.
Yeah, well, no, I'm just watching trends, and haven't been around for a couple of decades. I recognize front-running fools and teams that are in tough and losing by 1 or 2 and here and that, and then other parts that just hunches, that I come up with these things. And if I hadn't have gone with my heart, but I honestly, I really did think the Rock were going to win last weekend.
Well, and most did. I think there was maybe 2 or 3 people, and all the people that made picks this week that actually picked Rochester.
Yeah.
You talk about hunches. I went on the hunch with Edmonton this week, like you did with Boston last week, and of course I ended up going on too. So I guess my hunches are nowhere near as good as yours.
And after I made the pick, I thought, man, oh man, I can't see Rochester going, 0-5. And then I think, then we said, new coach and the Rock being desperate for a win, and it was the game of the week.
Well, and I found out later, actually, there was a few people commented on the site. Apparently, that game was not available on the NLL Network. So, fortunately, I was down at it. And for those that haven't seen, I did the write-up, got a few good pictures. I'm no Martin Allenson, mind you, but I did get a couple of shots that I thought were okay. But it was actually a very, very good effort by Toronto. I was very surprised. First 5 minutes of the game, they came out with an energy that I've not seen in them in a couple of years. Wow. And I'm sure that was all Jamie Valley and his new staff and the excitement and the whole, all that around the new staff being in there. Paddy O'Toole played pretty well. I mean, he didn't have to stand on his head or anything, but he played well enough that he shut them down, and Rochester ended up scoring the first goal of the game. Once Rochester got going, it turned into a really, really good game because both teams were very high tempo, very high energy.
Great. Yeah, I sat at home. I was sitting there with my pop and chips, waiting to maybe I see Mark seeing all the crew in the crowd there, and nothing. And it was very disappointing. I guess they had problems in the arena in Rochester with some type of internet hookup. But don't forget, Rock play again this Saturday, and it's an afternoon match, 3:30 against the Edmonton Rush.
And I did say as well, I'm just going to touch on this for a moment. We always talk about how great these guys are in the NLL. Sean Williams helped us out getting a few seats for some of the guys we took down with us, young guys. Paddy O'Toole helped us get hotel accommodations. I mean, they just kind of all went out of their way to help us out. We know those guys on a pretty good basis. After the game, we got a couple of the kids down. Well, they had an autograph session on the floor in Rochester. And after the game, we took all the kids down on the floor, and they walked around and talked to some of the guys. And one of the kids came out with Jason Crosby's stick.
No way.
Yeah. And I think these guys, they're not $1 million athletes, but you talk about just character guys. And here this kid comes out, and he was one of the kids that was with us. And he didn't put the stick down Saturday night when we get back to our hotel. Got up Sunday morning, he was still flipping it, looking at it, and he was just amazed that they had the stick now. Of course, the other two kids, they're two goalies, one of them my son, but they're looking at it going, well, how come I didn't get it? But, just great guys helping out, and these are the sorts of things, that hook. You'll talk a little bit later about the economy and such. These are the sorts of things that hook people on lacrosse. That no matter what, I got to get out to that game because I want to see these guys. Just remembering those types of things.
Oh, 54 is a class act, man. Jason.
So, anyways, back to the pool. You've locked yourself now in a first place tie. Bubkiss and who was the other one there? Bubkiss and Ratty M. I did, of course, have to put you at the top of the list, even though you aren't tied with them. But
thank you.
The last couple of weeks, you've gone from running with the middle of the pack right up to the top dog here. This keeps up. I can't give you a prize.
I'll donate my prize.
Well, just so everybody knows out there, you can't win. So, I've tried a few hunch bets. It is turning out one of those years where, just like it was last year, any week, any team can beat anybody else. And every time I pick a hunch, it just goes right out the window.
And it's going to get tougher and tougher as it goes down to the wire. Like the last 3 seasons, the NLL, we haven't known what the playoff seedings were to the last day.
Yeah.
So that's what's great. It just gets better and better as the season goes on.
Absolutely. Some more lacrosse news as well. The Major Series Lacrosse Draft is being held on Tuesday night. Unfortunately, we're taping this prior to that. We're only a few hours from that right now. So by the time this gets aired and everybody's out there able to see it, the draft will have already taken place. But a number of good players eligible this year to go into the draft. And as I said, that's taking place Tuesday night at 9 o'clock. And hopefully, again, when people see this, it will already have happened.
Yeah. But
hopefully, everybody had a chance to tune into our site because we will be broadcasting that live.
Okay, it's a conference call. Gary's going to be doing that from the El Palacio Marxi.
The palatial estate.
i.e. his basement. Hey, we're working stiffs too. We're just like the lacrosse players as well. So that's tonight on Lacrosse Inside the Game.
Yeah, and I know the junior draft's coming up in the next little while, and hopefully we're going to be able to do that as well with them. But I guess that remains to be seen, and we'll take it from there.